Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's Monday. I don't know why we're here. I guess because there's a big event happening on Wednesday and Tuesday's out, so we had to do today. And I am really excited to be talking to you this afternoon with Dr. Lucas McMillan. He joined the Lander University faculty back in 2008. He's now the professor of political science, and he became the dean in 2017. He has quite a job. He currently serves as Dean of the College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, having previously served as a founding Dean of the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences and interim Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities. So, Lucas, I tell you what, you must like variety.
I do.
You do? Okay. And you certainly have it. How come they combined all of that into one, put it all under your umbrella?
Well, I think the humanities, the arts, and the social sciences all talk to one another. Our job is to introduce the world to our students, to get them to think about themselves, what they are interested in as individuals, to connect with others, to be part of a community. And so all of our programs get at trying to help students understand themselves, how they relate to others, and what they might want to do with their lives.
Sure. So as you have put this all together, what is the student in 2025? What is a student at Lander like? Of course, they're all different, but what is they like?
Well, our students, of course, primarily come from South Carolina. Many of them are like me. They grew up in a small town. But they have come to us from South Carolina all over our state. They have come from a couple of other states. We have all sorts of student athletes. We have students interested in the humanities, arts, and social sciences, and studying business, and studying nursing, and studying education, and studying sciences. College is a fun time, and students are figuring out what they're interested in. And as you know, they know some things about a variety of things, but they don't know everything in terms of what might be an opportunity. And so that is Lander's job, and we think we do a good job, which is to introduce them to each other.
Right.
About 50% of them live on our campus. Many more live very close by, and they can walk to campus.
How many students are on Lander's campus now, or a student body?
So we've got about 2,000 on our campus, and the student body is now, over 4,300 students. And as you may know, we have added graduate programs, so we're very excited. We don't just have the undergraduates now. We have graduate programs.
Some online programs,
we have
too.
Some of the online programs are our graduate programs, yes, ma'am, because that does allow people to have a career and then to have the flexibility to continue their education, to further themselves, to be qualified as a manager or a supervisor. So our role at Lander is to serve our region and serve our state. We think we do that pretty well. We certainly have a lot of people that are here in the Lakelands with us. But as you know, a lot of Lander alums go off. They serve in the military around the world. They serve in law enforcement. They serve as attorneys and social workers and business folks all around the country. And so some of them go off for a bit, and then they come back. And so we like to see, and I laugh when students go off to graduate school. They go off to New York or Pennsylvania or Illinois or wherever, and then they may migrate back to some warmer weather.
Right, yeah. Well, I think there is something comfortable about a smaller school.
Absolutely.
I
You
mean,
get
you
to
know.
really know people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is important. Plus, I think Greenwood is a very welcoming town, and there
is.
certainly is a lot of interaction between Lander and the students and whatnot here. But I also, I was very impressed when I was reading over your bio. I mean, you were one of the under 40 stars under 40.
I squeaked in there just under 40.
And you also you serve on the board of directors for both the South Carolina Humanities as well as the Alston Wilkes Society.
That's right.
What is the Alston Wilkes Society?
The Alston Wilkes Society is a historically Methodist nonprofit. It is really working with people to start anew, a new beginning. So a lot of our programs are trying to help people who have been incarcerated come back into life, to get a job, to find a place to live, to reconnect with community and be successful. But many of our programs serve veterans, and so they serve persons who've served the nation in the military. But it is a wonderfully beneficial nonprofit that says it's okay to start over, and you may have made some mistakes, but let's begin anew.
That's cool. Yeah,
so
you hear about the Alston Wilkes Society, but
Sure.
you don't always know. And I think a lot of people probably wouldn't say this, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to look it up. So
Right.
yeah,
And Greenwood and the Lakelands are served well by the Alston Wilkes Society. And some of our folks may not know that some local organizations have supported the Alston Wilkes Society in all sorts of different ways. So, as you said, Greenwood is a relational place. The book that our faculty are reading in our teaching circle this fall is called Relationship Rich Education. And so really the key message there is, if you can make a relationship with a student, that student will get to know you, will become comfortable asking for advice, will be able to be mentored. Right. So those of us that have had a wonderful relationship-rich education we benefited from that.
Do you think COVID had a lot to do with the lack of that relationship building?
COVID certainly really hampered relationships. I was glad to be in Greenwood where we had a yard, so we didn't just go crazy in our own house. We could get outside.
Right.
But, Greenwood is a good size because, and I hope this is true for my own children, building a relationship with other people. And whether that happens at school or at work or in a church, in a religious setting, you want people to make relationships with each other. So I hope Lander continues to do that. Cherish and nurture relationships among our students in our community.
Right. Well, I think that is so important, and they talk about all the, I'll say, learning disabilities that young people that went through COVID, particularly even younger ones,
Right.
Just missed out on some of these things. So I think it is so important. You've also traveled pretty extensively. You went to St. Andrews in Scotland.
I know. I went to St. Andrews, and I was not a golfer. I was only allowed to look at the old course. I was allowed to play the ladies' putting green.
The ladies' putting green?
The ladies' putting green.
Did you have to put on a kilt?
I didn't have to put on a kilt.
Did you put on a kilt?
I did put on a kilt.
I knew it. Okay.
I did. And I ate haggis, and I tried all sorts of Scottish food and beverages, let's just say.
Beverages, okay.
That's right. But yeah, I had a wonderful opportunity to study abroad. As I said, I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, and so Lander does that. We have a great study abroad program. We do send some students to Scotland,
right,
and to England, but we send students to Italy, to Asia, to Europe, to Latin America.
Do you send them to Washington D.C.?
We have certainly sent them to Washington D.C.
That's another country.
Well, some people may think that's another country. We have probably sent about 30 for a full semester to D.C., and it's been our great pleasure to have them work not just in the offices of a U.S. Senator or a member of Congress. They have worked off the Hill. They've worked for the Heritage Foundation, for the Smithsonian Museums.
That's terrific.
For the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Commerce. So a semester away, whether it's abroad or in Washington, can open up new avenues, new doors. Mm-hmm. I think the starting salary for a person who studied abroad or studied away is still higher in terms of national data. The reason is those persons are more independent. They are more project leaders, project managers kind of naturally. And so we absolutely push study abroad. And as you know, our faculty do shepherd students by taking them on what we call study tours.
Right.
So the faculty are very interested, as I am, in showing students the world and showing students the nation.
Now, as a political scientist, what did you want to be when you grew up? You know, what were you thinking when you were down there in Mullins and saying, I'm going to go to school? What did you think you wanted to do?
Well, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, but I spent about
a lawyer.
I spent about 4 or 5 weeks with a lawyer, and I was kind of bored, and I just did not think that was what I wanted to do. And I had the good fortune of being mentored by professors, and then I worked on a college staff, and then I decided, I guess I want to go to school for a long time. And learn the art.
There's nothing like it. Going to school, staying on that college campus.
Right.
Yeah,
we think we're quite smart. Faculty, have stayed on a college campus forever. So I wanted to learn about the art and science of teaching. I always wanted to work at a teaching institution. I certainly enjoy research. The faculty at Lander are very accomplished scholars, probably in a lot more ways than most people know. But our true drive is teaching, and so
isn't that always so funny that in your own backyard you can have something absolutely fabulous, but you're always thinking, well, it has to be down in Columbia, or it has to be Clemson, or it has to be Wofford, right? Something like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and as you know, Ann, the classroom at Lander is not just our academic buildings. And so we are very grateful to our many community partners who work with us to provide students with internships. And they do internships, across Greenwood County and across the Lakelands. We have a lot of students involved in volunteerism. And all those things, of course, are just working with folks and working in teams, which are good things. And then, as you know, we offer a lot of programs. So we have speakers, we have music events, we have art gallery receptions, and these can bring good speakers, and
you can bring the world to Lander.
We can bring the world to Lander, but the other thing that happens that I don't want to miss is a lot of our programming is really a spotlight on our students.
Absolutely.
So if you come to one of our concerts, most of our concerts are our students performing.
Right.
If you come to our gallery, most of the art was work
created,
that is created by our students.
Sure.
And if you come to other public programming, we have students that are presenting their own research before they go off and present at a national or a regional or a state conference. Or we have our students present, to tell their story about, okay, I studied abroad, or I did this internship, and here's what I learned. Here's what I learned about the field. Here's what I learned about a career. Or here's what I learned about myself.
Right.
And those are good things.
Absolutely. Well, I think that there is so much, and one of the things that I have always enjoyed is your musical concerts, that the students have.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Robert Gardner, a good friend,
the
and
jazz ensemble,
and all of that, and so many of the programs that you have cover what they're doing, and it really is amazing. And I tell you, the other thing that I like how they mix students and accomplished local artists together. They practice together, they play together.
Some of our community members in our wind ensemble have been there for over a decade. and they get to know our students, and they can mentor our students. So I can think of many that are
Eddie Ziegler,
John Cooper,
Yep.
just all sorts of folks who really don't just give of their time and their talent, but are shepherding students, even if in a small and almost a way that most people don't recognize.
Correct. So there's a lot of good things going on at Lander, and coming up this Wednesday is Constitution Day. And, you know, it's a day that we don't actually go, woohoo, it's Constitution Day, right?
That's right. It's probably not on everyone's family photo calendar.
That's right. We got to take a picture today. Hashtag Constitution Day.
That's right.
So what does Constitution Day mean?
So Constitution Day, Congress decided a couple of years ago they did want Americans to remember the importance of the Constitution. As our listeners know, and as you know, we, unlike so many other countries, have had the same Constitution for over 200 years. Part of the reason is we've allowed that to be amended, to be modified over time, since 1787. And so Congress asked each college or university to promote Constitution Day in some way. And so we've done all sorts of things. We've had federal district judges present. We had a wonderful judge a couple of years ago, appointed by President Trump, a young guy, at least I think he's young, and gave a great speech. We've had our own students who are alums, who are lawyers, to speak.
Right.
We've had journalists and policy advisors. This year, we really wanted to do something different and special because we are celebrating, as you know, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence next year. And so the American Revolution is gearing up 250 years ago. And so we were able, through our Jackson Lecture Series, to get 2 actors from the American Historical Theater to come and portray Thomas Jefferson and John Adams.
Right.
And they will be on Landers campus this Wednesday, September 17th, at 6 o'clock in our Cultural Center auditorium. And they will show not just the ideas of Jefferson and Adams, but they will show how they discuss, how they debate, how they can disagree with each other, but all in the name of a good exercise that shows you freedom and liberty and equality and democracy
and justice for all.
And justice. These are all messy things, but they mean slightly different things, and we can argue about them. It's okay to argue. But the
problem is, look at where we are when we argue in today's world.
Well, we're hoping to give you at least a good historical example of arguing.
Right.
Of
now,
Jefferson
they
and
don't
Adams.
just agree with each other on this, do they?
They don't. No,
and
they have different visions for the country, and so Jefferson and Adams were opposed on many things. But as you may know, when they were dying, they were writing to each other. They had a long friendship for many, many years. But this, we think, these 2 actors portraying some of the founding fathers will just be kind of a special way to celebrate the Constitution, and of course with Jefferson, the primary author of the Declaration of Independence. And we're not just doing this as a one-off. We will have a variety of programming this year, and so right after this week's Constitution Day event, next week we have one of our historians who will talk about a battle that was at 96. And so we are very
one of the
good.
First battles.
Yeah, the first battle. That's right, the first battle.
Mm-hmm.
And so 96 is a good partner to us. We have interns that serve there. We have faculty that volunteer there.
And you have Dr. Roche that likes to dress up,
that's
like
right. Frank Roush loves to dress up. That's right. And so Dr. Roush is a very accomplished scholar.
The dioramas that he's done are just unbelievable.
He's a very accomplished scholar and teacher. He is an expert in Asian history. Most of his publications are about Korea and how Catholicism spread around Asia. He's been called on by international museums and very high-level universities and associations to speak, and certainly very high-caliber publishing houses have published his work. But he's really gotten into, as you probably know, how do you make history come alive?
Yes.
And so he has tried to make games and simulations. And part of that was
actually, you got a grant
getting dressed up and going out and being a volunteer at 96.
Right.
And so he's going to talk about what happened at 96 from November 19th to November 22nd in 1775. And that event is next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, September 23rd. That's at 5:30 at the Art Center of Greenwood. That's 120 Main Street.
And that's called The Siege of Savage's Old Fields.
That's right.
Now, why is it called that? I have no idea. Do you?
I'm not sure. That's what Frank is going to have to explain to us.
Okay.
But what is nice about Dr. Rausch's talk on September 23rd, that is the beginning of our community lecture series. So a couple of years ago, Lander started this community lecture series in partnership with the Arts Center. And 3 or 4 times a semester, so about 6 to 8 across the academic year, we will have these events which allow a faculty member to showcase an interesting topic or their area of expertise.
So this is, excuse me. So this is really exciting. Now, does that medically speaking go along with that too?
So the hospital, Self-Regional, started the medically speaking series. That is open to the hospital's physicians and staff, as well as Lander students, primarily aimed at nursing and healthcare management. That's actually not open to the public.
Oh, okay.
It's really meant, I think, more and to be like a continuing education series for the hospital's employees, and then to really extend our nursing students' education, our healthcare management, those interested in a career in medicine. So whether they're majoring in biology or chemistry,
well, you certainly
or
are building
nursing.
a big new building over there.
Well, we're always having to build new buildings, and because the university's growing, and we needed to have more spaces, and not just a typical classroom, but the spaces that allow for the active and experiential learning that we know is so. And so some of the nursing facilities are these simulation labs where they have, the dummy, and our students have to learn to practice.
Right.
And so all across the university, whether it's in the art gallery or the concert halls or simulations in classes or debates in classes, or our student organizations put on some great programming through student activities, we want our students to practice, to get comfortable, to become better communicators, right? Not just in writing, but also orally.
Do you think that's a problem in today's world for young people to be able to orally communicate?
Well, we do think, and we do know that students can always enhance their written and oral communication skills.
Well, I don't know how many students I've talked, or I'll just say young people.
Right.
That are very uncomfortable, whether you're in a checkout line and they go and so, how you doing today? I'm all right. And you just go, well, I'm great. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. But, they don't get that as much. Right. Some do.
Sure.
And you can tell some of the places that people work at where they have made a concert effort to make sure that these young people speak up.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, as you know, it takes practice. And so we do require students not just to write papers and put together projects, but to do presentations in our classes. And students don't naturally like it. But if they do that again and again, then they will become, as with anything, they will become better at it. And as we were talking before we came on the air, they have to learn to work in teams. This is a huge thing that the business community has always told the universities, to work with other people, to be able to collaborate, to be able to say, I'm not as good at this, and I may need your help, but I'm really good at this, and I can help you.
Right.
These are lifelong, durable skills that we want our students to have. And the main thing I like to tell students, I just want to make sure you don't feel stuck at age 30. Now, if you're talking to somebody who's 18 and you say age 30, they think that sounds
old.
Very old.
Right.
But the idea there is we don't want our students to feel stuck, meaning they can always continue their education. They can always learn and think about their skills and climb the ladder, move around, take new opportunities. Life is not static.
Well, back in the day, you went to work for a company, you retired from that company, and
right.
you got the gold watch, right? Or
That's
some
right.
such thing,
That's
right? But today, I'd be interested in your feeling about. We're all over the board here today. I hope you don't mind if you've got a question. We are talking with Dr. Lucas McMillan. He is the dean over there at Lander, and we're having a fascinating discussion about most everything except what we were supposed to talk about, which we'll get back to. Events coming up at Lander. But if you've got a question, you can call on the Legacy line, 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. I would be curious as to, there's a big push towards students going into plumbing or air conditioning, all these other things, rather than a 4-year education. What do you feel about that? We're seeing a big change on that.
Well, we certainly need those who do not wish to go to a 4-year institution to go to one of our South Carolina technical colleges and study welding, plumbing, be a great electrician. Certainly, like everybody who has a house, you want a good plumber.
Right.
You want a good electrician.
Right.
These things are beyond my skill set. And just ask my wife. But
have you tried to do any of these things, Lucas?
I do a lot of painting. We've done a lot of painting in my time. I'm not very good with electricity. But I think what we would say is, so if that's what you want to do, if you and your family decide that that's what's best, and then that's great. And you can be a wonderful provider for your family. You can be a wonderful community member in any of those professions.
Sure, absolutely.
What Lander does is try to provide a 4-year degree, and we've tried to make our degrees flexible so that if you did bring in some coursework from a technical college or community college, that coursework can be counted. And
there's a lot of bridge programs.
And so
right
we
now.
have these bridge programs, we have these articulation agreements, and we want students who can find us at any age, right, at any age, and be able to finish their education. And so you may wish to have a certain skill, but you also may want to study and be a better communicator, a better manager, know some things about how to interact with others and be a part of your community, and there are just an awful lot of degree programs that do that.
Well, and there are certain things that you need a degree for to be considered, to even be considered
That's
for
right.
the job.
That's right.
So
well, and it's like you used to be able to do certain things with a 2-year institutional degree that now people want a 4-year degree or they want a master's degree, and so things keep changing in terms of what is expected of a good employee. And so we have, as you know, added a lot of graduate programs in order to better serve our region and better serve our state.
Absolutely. Well, coming up on Wednesday on Constitution Day is this great program. I tell you what, when I first heard about this is why I called Graham, because I said, this is just too cool. I am really curious as to how you were able to secure these two guys to be able to come. Stephen Edinbow is portraying Thomas Jefferson, and Peyton Dixon is portraying John Adams.
Well, this was the idea of the chair of our Department of History and Philosophy, Dr. Ryan Floyd, and we worked together to see if we could land these two accomplished actors. They have been at the National Archives, they've been on PBS, the History Channel, A&E, the Smithsonian, the Republican National Convention, Independence Hall in Philadelphia. So they will be here because we booked them, I think, back in March or April.
On Constitution Day. This is what is so cool.
We were excited because we wanted them here on Constitution Day.
Right.
It is the middle of the week. We know that some people may have plans. Wednesday night for many people is church night. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll just hope that if you're really interested, you may consider skipping.
Right. One night. One night. Yes.
And join us on campus. That's 6 o'clock in the Cultural Center Auditorium. These two great actors will be portraying Jefferson and Adams. So that's in our auditorium. Park on our campus. There'll be signs out so you can find your way. And we will be in the large auditorium. And following the program, there will be a reception. And the two distinguished actors are very willing to
engage,
interact with folks. They'll be still in their costumes.
Take some pictures.
You can take some photos, but we're excited about it. And as you know, this is a good thing. It's not just for our students, not just for our faculty and staff. It is for the public. And so, as we often say to our employees, tell your neighbors, tell your friends. And this is just...
That's why you're on the radio here today.
That's why we're on the radio, because we want people to come. Lander, as you know, tries to be a very good community partner. So whether it's speakers and panel discussions, or it's music events or art gallery events, we have a good time. And we want to be a venue where people come.
Absolutely. Well, I think this sounds great. I happened to look up about these two guys, and what Steve Edinbow, who plays Thomas Jefferson, said, interpretation in historical theater, like history itself, sparks discussions through careful study and preparation. Mm-hmm. And, I think that is so great, because how many of us could really talk about the Constitution eloquently?
Well, the legislature, the General Assembly of South Carolina, actually does take it quite seriously. And we were always teaching through the general education program and through our majors in history and political science. We were always teaching about the Constitution and the founding documents. The General Assembly a couple of years ago passed something called the South Carolina REACH Act. So now every single student who comes to Lander has to have one course in the founding documents. So they will either have the Intro to American Government course, or they will have the Introduction to American History Part 1 or Part 2. Any of those three courses that are required, and their choices, obviously, they will cover the Declaration and the Constitution and all sorts of founding documents, so that they better understand our heritage and better understand how they can be a part of it. I think that's a key thing, is we want, through our mission and vision, we want our alums to be citizens. And I think we have a number of so many engaged alums who, sure, some are in elected positions, they're in elected office, but many, many more are in their neighborhood association, they're on the school board, they're involved in
city council,
they're involved in a community theater group. They are making their communities a better place, and that's what it really means. Is civic engagement. It doesn't mean you have to just run for office.
Well, I think it's terrific, and I would want to ask you, because I know that there are people out there that are thinking, we hear about college campuses and how maybe liberal they are, and how does Lander fall in the scheme of teaching documents as they are, not what we might like to interpret them as?
Well, I think, first of all, I think every campus naturally reflects the political culture of where it is.
Okay.
So Lander, located in Greenwood, South Carolina, is a different animal than an institution that's much larger, or in a much more urban area, or in a very different
like in New York City.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
So we're quite different than the City University of New York. We're quite different than Montana State. We're quite different than Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. So, our whole idea is to teach and mold and mentor students. They come to us inquisitive. They come to us curious, and it's the faculty's job to really tap into that curiosity, to let them ask questions, to let them meander around. I certainly say, I want you to figure out why you think what you think, and that's my role as a professor, but also to explore new ideas. And hey, if you change your mind, that's fine. That doesn't stress me out, because I've changed my mind about a lot of things.
Absolutely. I think that's what growth is about.
Sure.
What you believe when you're 18 and what you believe when you're 50 or 60 quite often are very different, because you've been involved in life at 50 to 60.
And as you know, our students may come from one area of the state or one area of the country, and meet others and become great friends, and then learn things from another perspective, and that's a great thing.
It is, and I think it's important that we realize that, and I think that these lectures that you're doing. What was the guy's name? Hines, the guy that came and talked about suicide?
Yes, that's right. A couple of weeks ago.
Stephen, Michael. Anyways.
Through Beth Justison's organization.
Yes.
Yeah, Here for a Reason.
Here for a Reason. That was a fabulous Atlander. That was fabulous. And there were all different people there. There were people from the community there. There were people with wild hair colors. There were very conservative. But I'm saying it was a very cross section.
Sure.
There were young people there, young as in 8, 9, 10, children, this type of thing. But when it got to the question and answer period, where people were asking him questions about life and how he deals with, there was really some heartfelt things that were said at that discussion there. And I think that was so important for opening the door.
Oh, absolutely. And we are seeing at Lander more and more interest in students who are interested in being a counselor or a therapist or a social worker. We have greater numbers of students who are going off to graduate school to become a licensed counselor or therapist or social worker. And we're able to do that, and they're able to be successful because not just do we have a good curriculum, but we have those persons on the faculty. So, in fact, one of our department chairs is on the state board for licensing counseling psychologists. So again, the Lander faculty, don't get me started on how great they are. It's not just that they publish research. They have served in all sorts of different leadership positions with professional associations. They hold licenses, in accounting, in the law, in social work, in counseling and therapy. And they bring all that to the classroom. And so if you're teaching social
work... You also
work,
have some people that are, let's see, I believe John McCravey teaches over at DES.
He has occasionally been,
I
think since he's gotten busier as a legislator, I don't know if he can teach as often, but he certainly has. Yes.
Right, and you have had people that work different jobs and do as a part-time...
We have in our college over 50 part-time faculty. And they do a fantastic job. We probably ought to give out more part-time faculty awards, frankly. But yeah, they bring to the classroom a lot of times an experience, a credential that we don't have on the full-time faculty, or where there's something we will never need a full-time faculty member in X, but we do need to provide this experience for the breadth of education. So I can think of the person who teaches school psychology for us is terrific. We're never going to need a full-time school psychologist, but we need her. And because of her, we have sent students into graduate school in school psychology. So she opens that door and that breadth of knowledge.
Absolutely. So let's see. We got this event coming up Wednesday night. You got to come to this. I just think that, and this is not just for adults.
Oh no! This should be really a lot of fun. You can bring the whole family.
Right.
I think that these are experienced actors. They are experienced on a stage. I don't know that you want to bring your toddler or your infant.
Right.
Certainly a child in elementary school might be really interested in seeing the founding fathers come alive.
Can't you just see Thomas Jefferson saying, "Woman, don't you think it's a good idea you remove that child from my discussion here today?"
Well, having had my own children and remembering what it is like to wrangle a toddler or an infant, I certainly probably would just bring them from elementary age school or beyond. But yeah, it should be a fun event, and it should help the history, the debates, the ideas come alive, and that's what we're really after.
I think that's terrific. And, in light of what we just have had with Charlie Kirk and that horrible, horrible shooting.
Horrible.
Regardless of where you stand on any of the issues, we should never take guns to destroy or get your way.
As we were saying before we came on the air, we clearly have a problem with political violence in the United States at this point. Given the last couple of years, I'm quite concerned about it. I think most people are. We need people to understand dialogue. We need for there to be conversations.
Where do you think this comes from?
I think, well, there are two things that I would point to. One is I think social media has not been helpful to relationships.
I agree.
So I think that's quite problematic, and there's so many consequences that are negative that have come out of the social media realm. I'm old enough to have not lived in social media for much of my life, which is probably helpful.
You were back in the used to days, right?
That's right. I enjoyed the 80s and 90s.
You're right.
The other thing, there has been research coming out that many of your listeners and would have probably heard in the last couple of days, and that is that some political scientists have tried to warn everybody, since last week particularly, we have a growing number of persons on the political right and the political left who look more favorably toward political violence.
Yes.
And that is very, very concerning. And so no matter the ideological extreme, there is a growing sentiment in survey research by Robert Pape from the University of Chicago and others that are documenting an increased level of that might be okay. And that is something that should worry us all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and you think about the games that people play where you shoot somebody and they get right back up. I mean,
Right.
do we really realize what we've done when we've done something like this and silencing the other side?
Well, and that's why we hope, we've been doing public programming for a long time. I'm now in my 18th year as a Lander employee.
Must have started when you were 12.
Sure, I started when I was 12. And I will just say, Ann, I'm very proud of Lander. We have been more and more intentional about our public programming. We're really trying to create the space for conversations. And we introduce things. We have debates. We have panel discussions. It's not just us, though. It's not just Lander. The Art Center does great programming. The museum does great programming. The theater and their shows can make people think and discuss. So it's very good to bring people together, whether they're at a Kiwanis meeting or a Rotary meeting or in a church hall. I hope for a time where we can get back to having a discussion and getting away from the terrible news that we've seen in the last couple of days. Or this summer,
right?
Or let's be clear, or last summer. I mean, right? This is not something that is just brand new from last week.
But it's beginning to get more revved up each time.
It is, and we need everybody, and I'm just going to say every rational adult. I won't just put it on people in public life, public service, but we need people to to demonstrate calm, rational, caring voices.
Well, I think the other thing that, to me, is that people don't listen. The art of listening is really an important thing. If I listen to what you say, I might get something out of it.
Sure.
If I'm already thinking about what I'm going to tell you, then I'm not even listening to what you're saying.
Right.
And I think that is something that people need to get with. And our attention spans, according to social media, 8 seconds. Oh my gosh!
You certainly don't have to tell college faculty about attention spans going down, but we do try to obviously do a lot more active and experiential learning. We try to engage, in Q&A with the students all the time. It is not just the sage on the stage lecturing at the students. I'm probably guilty of, as you can tell, I do like to talk. So I'm probably guilty of lecturing probably more than I should. But Lander and in its strategic plans, which we've been discussing in the last couple of months, we're trying to do what we can do to do more on active and experiential learning, because that's how you digest it, and that's how it makes sense for you,
right?
And that's how it will last. You will not just know it and then
forget it.
That's right.
Now, you were telling me about a paper that you just had your students do.
Oh yeah,
on
yes.
on covering the globe. I thought that was a great idea. Go ahead and
I
just
haven't graded them, but I'm sure they're all going to be A's.
Okay.
So one of my things I get to do is teach the Intro to World Politics course, and what we've been doing for the last couple of terms is having the first paper be a writing assignment that's a reflection. It's not a research paper, but it is trying to ask students, how are you connected to the globalized world? And what we do is we have them collect data on 25 clothing items, 25 food items, and interview a family member. And when they do that, they get to see how things have evolved. The choices that you have as a consumer.
Right.
You get to see where food comes from and where it's traveled from. You get to see, I like, this artist or this movie star or this musician. And you know what? I can follow them on social media, but I haven't thought about the fact that they are in a completely different culture, different country. So we're just trying to get people to think about those things.
Well, how about this new series on USA? It's called Rainmaker.
Oh, I don't know it.
Okay, it's a new series. He's a lawyer, and he's how to be a rainmaker and everything. But the story actually takes place in Charleston, South Carolina.
Ah.
However, where are they filming it?
Oh.
In Dublin.
In Ireland, I was about to say, Ireland does have a lot of film inducements for trying to get the
But I mean,
studios.
just look at that. That's so interesting.
That's
and then
right.
they'll even refer to, well, in Charleston today, and you'll go, but you're not,
Right.
But it is interesting how the global, it's not everything in the...
Well, and I think no matter what you think of globalization, and I told them my views about globalization are different from the town I grew up in, from the town I went to college in, from where I went to graduate school, from where I was abroad in graduate school, and now. I'm not asking you to like or dislike at this point. I just want you to see how you are connected. Well, it'll take the whole course for people to figure out what they like, what they don't like. Why are things the way they are? And then they can make up their own minds.
Well, it's just like clothing, right? You happen to look at the label. It could be from Vietnam. It could be from China. It could be made here in the United States. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of events this fall, though, and I hope any of your listeners are interested in attending these things. You can find them on the Lander website. That's www.lander.edu. If you put in lander.edu/events, so EVENTS, that will take you to our calendar. And so you have the entire calendar there. What I would encourage your listeners to do is click on the categories either for community or for performing and fine arts. And so when you do that, it'll pull up our community lecture series, it will pull up our music concerts, our art gallery, receptions. We would love for the public to come and check out these events, because so many of these events showcase our students. They showcase our students performing on our stage, in our bands and in our choirs. They showcase our students or alums in their work. Our first art gallery exhibit is by the alumna Molly Ott, who's going to have her work displayed in our gallery. If you are someone who hasn't been on our campus in the last couple of weeks, let me just say the art gallery is now located on the main floor of the Jackson Library. So just head to the middle of campus, go in the main doors, and you will see the gallery there. It's a beautiful gallery, glass walls, so you can see straight into it.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. One of the ones that kind of interests me, a community lecture by Dr. Andrew Jameson, A Drunken History. Now that one sounds most interesting.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yes. So Andy Jameson is Associate Professor of English, and Dr. Jameson is going to tell the story of America's love with alcohol and the drinks that have defined us. So, Andy,
will there be any samples?
Well, I know. Will there be any samples? That is definitely the
question.
$10 or $12 question. Andy is a gifted writer and teacher. In fact, one of his mentees has gone on to write a book, and it was very successful in its publication. So he's certainly a writer. And has many publications, but he's giving this talk to talk about our favorite cocktails and concoctions and what they say about us. So he thinks he has the best bar in his own living room. I don't know about that, but he will certainly give what I think is an inviting and entertaining talk.
Absolutely.
And that is October 28th. Tuesday, October 28th, A Drunken History, the story of America's love of alcohol and drinks that have defined us, with Dr. Andrew Jameson, and that's 5:30 Tuesday, October 28th at the Arts Center of Greenwood.
It's right before Halloween, I might add.
Right before Halloween, that's right. And we have many faculty that love Halloween.
Right.
Oh, they do Halloween contest.
Right.
And we have a good time.
Have a good time. Well, you know what? This has been Dr. Lucas McMillan. This has been a fascinating conversation that we have engaged in this afternoon,
it
correct?
Has been.
Yeah.
And I can't believe the time has passed so fast.
Yes, I know a couple of your compatriots were afraid to come on, that I wouldn't have enough for them to talk about. I guess you can report back that we can have quite a conversation.
You and I are totally fine for an hour.
That's right. That's right. So anything else you would like us to know?
Lander is a great community partner. We hope that folks will come to our campus, check out our website for all the details. We've got a lot going on. We're very excited. We have an active student body. We are growing in size. We are growing in events. We're growing in enthusiasm for what a Lander education can do.
And it is certainly the place for a smaller community-based facility. I think if that's what your child or student is looking for, they should take a really serious look.
Relationship-rich education.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming out today.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us. Tomorrow morning, I'll be back with the I Love Ann show with a lot of coffee talk. You know me. We'll be talking. I hope you'll join me. We'll be on about 9:15. We go the behind the curtain look from 9:15 to about 9:30. We go live at 9:30. FYI, if you missed this interview, or maybe you were listening on the radio and you'd like to catch the whole thing, we have been Facebook Live this evening, so you can go back and watch it on our Facebook page, WCRS 98.5 FM /1450 AM. If you're not a Facebooker, but you'd still like to see it, it'll be on our website by tomorrow, WCRS1450am.net. Check it out, like it, share it, and tell everybody they need to know about the Constitution.
That's right.
That's right. Thanks so much for coming this afternoon.
Thank you.
This is WCRS right here in Greenwood. Cue the music. We are done for today. Have a good night, everybody. Oh, by the way, before I do that, back up here just a little bit here, Ann. Before I do that, I need to tell you that tomorrow night, the 1776, the movie, is being shown at the Uptown Market. It just kind of popped up. It's going to be, 7:30, I think. I'll be talking about it more in the morning. But this is a great opportunity to see this under the stars. Is going to be just a great night. So please get out there and put that on your radar for tomorrow night. Again, thank you, Dr. Lucas McMillan. That's going to do it for us. Bye-bye, everybody. Show end. Cue the music. We're out of here. Bye-bye, everybody. Take it away.